Let me give you a name, Johannes Climacus. This man wrote 2 books in 1844. Deep, unsettling, genre-defining books. Books that changed the course of philosophy. So, who was Johannes Climacus? Where was he born? Where did he die? Is there a single photograph of him? There isn't, because Johannes Climacus never existed. One more name, Victor Eremita. In 1843, he published a massive work called Either Or, signed it as editor. One of the most original books in all of philosophical literature. So who was Victor Eremita? Also gone. Also a ghost. Now here's what I want to ask you. If a man spent his entire life publishing his work not under his own name, but under the names of characters he invented inside his own head, who is the real man? And the darker question, what if the real man was also just a character? The person we're talking about today is named Søren Kierkegaard, or at least that's what we think. 1813, Copenhagen, the home of a wealthy Danish merchant. The father's name is Michael Pedersen Kierkegaard. From the outside, successful, prosperous, devout. But this man carries a secret deep inside him, a secret he will never fully confess, only whisper to his son in the middle of the night. The secret is this. As a young boy, out on a cold Jutland hillside, starving and freezing as a shepherd child, Michael had cursed God. And after that day, everything in his life had gone well, which terrified him even more. As if the devil had struck a deal. His wife died, his children died, one by one. Michael came to believe it was all payment for the curse. And he took that darkness, that guilt, and dripped it, slowly, steadily, for years, into the mind of his youngest son, Søren. Into the mind of his youngest son, Søren. Søren did not have a normal childhood. He didn't kick a ball around outside. He didn't run with friends. His father kept him indoors and taught him to play with ideas. The two of them would take imaginary walks for hours, without ever leaving the house. The father would narrate, Søren would picture it. Now we turn left on this street. What would you order at that bakery? And little Søren could see all of it, perfectly, in his mind. This man didn't build a home in his son's body. He built one in his mind. And when Søren grew up, that mind had become so crowded, so full of competing voices, so layered, that it was impossible to tell which voice was his, which was his father's, which was God's. Maybe that's why he needed the pseudonyms. Maybe there were so many voices inside him that he had no choice but to give each one its own name. I'm going to read you a list. These are the names Kierkegaard used to sign his works. Johannes Climacus, the skeptic, searching for God but unable to find him. Anti-Climacus, the exact opposite. So close to God he's almost Christ-like. Victor Eremita, the victorious hermit, a man who has escaped society. Judge William, the moralist, orderly, married, convinced he is happy. Johannes de Silentio, Johannes of silence, the one who tells Abraham's story, but cannot make sense of it. Constantin Constantius, the philosopher of repetition, tired and sardonic. Hilarius Bookbinder, a bookbinder. A name so absurd it barely registers, as if Kierkegaard is telling. Each of these characters defends a different philosophical position. They even contradict each other at times. And Kierkegaard never fully hides behind any of them, but never fully steps in front of them either. Why? The official answer, Kierkegaard called this, indirect communication. His argument was, if you state a philosophical truth directly, the reader absorbs it as information and files it away. But if you deliver it through a character, inside a dramatic situation, in a way that makes the reader draw their own conclusions, then the truth gets under their skin. Clever. Genuinely clever. But there's another possibility. What if Kierkegaard was simply afraid to speak in his own name? Think about it. This is a man carrying his father's curse. A man who abandoned Regine. A man mocked and humiliated by Copenhagen's sharpest satirical newspaper, pointed at in the street. And for someone hauling all of that, saying, "This is what I think," how easy could that possibly have been? Maybe the pseudonyms weren't just a philosophical method. Maybe the pseudonyms weren't just a philosophical method. Maybe they were armor. 1837. A party. A young Søren sees 14-year-old Regine Olsen across the room, and something happens inside him. He writes about it himself, in his journals, something like being struck by lightning. For 3 years, he doesn't approach her, he just watches, observes, and builds a Regine inside his mind, not the real Regine. His Regine. In 1840, he proposes. She says yes. And right at that moment, something shifts inside Kierkegaard. 1 year after the engagement, in 1841, timing die, he breaks it off. The official version, he didn't believe he deserved marriage. He thought someone carrying his father's darkness, a man with a shadow for a soul, would only make her miserable. He left her to set her free. Romantic, heartbreaking, a beautiful story. But ask yourself this, what if Kierkegaard left her the moment she stopped being a character and became a real person? Because when you look at his work, Regine is everywhere. in repetition, in fear and trembling, in fear and trembling, in fear and trembling, in the journals, but always transformed. Always transformed. If he had married the real Regine, she would have remained a human being. A person with flaws, with boring days, with illness, with moments of being genuinely irritating. But by leaving her, Regine became an idea forever. And Kierkegaard loved ideas more than he loved people. Is that great love? Or is that a profound coldness? No answer. Kierkegaard never gave one. 1845. Copenhagen's most popular satirical newspaper, the Corsair. Kierkegaard provokes them, almost dares them, come after me. Because at the time, the Corsair was tearing everyone apart, but leaving Kierkegaard alone, maybe out of respect, maybe out of hesitation, and Kierkegaard couldn't stand it. Why? Because being seen as untouchable and respectable from the outside, that was just another false mask. And Kierkegaard despised false masks. The Corsair obliged. For months they drew him, mocked him, made Copenhagen laugh at him. They caricatured his crooked legs, made fun of his height, turned him into the city's court jester. And Kierkegaard stopped being able to walk the streets. During this period, he wrote something in his journal. He wrote, "People should have known me as a writer, but now they only see me as an amusing shape." And that's where the real tragedy lives. His entire life, he hid his true self, stepped behind pseudonyms, created characters, built curtain after curtain. And when his face was finally exposed, the people who saw it laughed. Beneath the mask was another mask. And beneath that one, maybe nothing. 1855. Søren Kierkegaard, age 42, collapses on the streets of Copenhagen. He's carried to a hospital. He can't feel his legs. Doctors find nothing. The diagnosis is vague, the cause unclear. But Kierkegaard is calm. He'd been expecting this. For years he had written in his journals, "I will die at 42. Why? His father's curse. Every member of his family had died young, and he had believed it so completely that, in a way, he seemed to have programmed his own death. A friend visited him in the hospital and asked, "Will you leave your estate to the church?" Kierkegaard smiled. "No," he said. "The church is a lie. The clergy are a lie. God is real, but his representatives are not." He died on November 11th, 1855. There was a scene at his funeral. His brother's son stood up in the middle of the service and objected to the church ceremony, knowing full well how his uncle had felt about religious institutions. Right in the middle of the funeral, the young man rose to his feet and declared, "This man would not have wanted this." And in that moment, maybe the one thing Kierkegaard had always wanted actually happened. Even in death, he directed the scene. Was this his final pseudonym? The dead man? Or had the real pseudonym? I'm not going to give you an answer, because Kierkegaard didn't. But here's what I can say. This man spent his entire life asking one single question. He asked it through many different mouths, under many different names, behind many different masks. How does one become a real human being? Johannes Climacus asked, by believing in God? Judge William asked, by living a moral life? Victor Eremita asked, by escaping society? Anti-Climacus asked, by surrendering completely. And Søren Kierkegaard, in the rare works he published under his own name, his actual name, said only this: "Don't dissolve into the crowd. Stand alone. It might destroy you. But without it, you were never really there." Maybe that was the real Søren, the man who showed a different face to everyone, and when finally alone, looked at himself. And what he saw in that solitude, he never told anyone. Today, millions of people exist under false names. They play one character on Instagram, another on LinkedIn, another in front of their family. Kierkegaard was doing this in the 1840s, and he didn't do it out of weakness. He did it as something close to a deliberate experiment in existence. Maybe the real question isn't, who was the real Søren? Maybe the real question is, who is the real you? And you know the answer. You just won't say it out loud, just like Søren.